Hello, hello, ladies. How are you guys doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on what time that you're watching this. If you're watching live right now, then good afternoon. So for those who doesn't know who I am. My name is Ida Serino Lee. I'm a holistic health practitioner and a integrated nutrition coach. And what is my passion? My passion is to help you to prevent, control, and reverse chronic diseases. What for? So that you can live a long, healthy life fulfilling your dreams and your God-given purpose. And as women, that way you can handle all the demands that come with womanhood and entrepreneurship and still be healthy and do not, put your family into without sacrificing your family time as well. When you stay healthy. So today we're going to have a candid conversation on how to prep for a doctor's visit. Since I've been going through so many doctor's visits lately because I've been taking my mom and my husband to the doctor here and there. So everything that I have worked, because if you didn't know, I work over 27 years in the healthcare field. I work in a oncology office. I work in an internal medicine office, and I work in an urgent care office. I'm a medical lab technologist, and I'm also a registered medical assistant. So I work on both positions in all these different places within 28 years. Okay, so I know how it is and how the healthcare work. What I call my sick care. I know how it works, what the in and outs, and how can you come in prepared so that way you don't get extra medication and you get the best diagnosis and treatment from the doctor. Because right now doctors have very little time to spend with you, so it's very important for us to come prepared. But before we start talking, I want to give some housekeeping. So if you are watching me live right now, okay, I want you to go to the top of the video and give permission to StreamYard so that way I can see your comments. So when you write a comment, I'll be able to respond because I'll be able to see it. If not, I will answer all the questions and all the comments after the video, okay? So let's start. So remember that when you go to the doctor, when you go to the doctor's office, the first thing that I want you to know is that you have the right to ask whatever you want and need from the doctor, okay? You have patient's right. So you're able to ask whatever it is that you need and you want from the doctor, okay? Now, you know how doctor's office work right now. They only have maybe 15, 20 minutes with you. It's an in and out thing. For them, they have a computer where they have to document everything and codify everything so they can get paid, okay? And then you out. So if you don't come prepared with everything that you need to come prepared for, then you are not going to get everything that you want. And the most prepared you are, that when you come to the doctor's visit, the better quality of care the doctor can give you, the better diagnosis the doctor can give you, and the least error the doctor can make, because you come prepared knowing what you're supposed to get and what you're supposed to do. So it's very important for you to do that. So for example, let's say you suffer diabetes and high blood pressure. Let's say, for example, like that. It is important whenever you have a diagnosis that the doctor gives you, it's important for you to go and learn what is the diagnosis about and what is the actual protocols that they use to treat that particular disease. Why do you want to know that? Because you want to make sure that your doctor is giving you all the right things. If you're not going to do anything when it comes to your lifestyle, nutrition, then you have to follow whatever the doctor's instructions are to take care of you and be able to, contend the symptoms and things like that when it comes to a diagnosis. So it's important that whenever doctor give you a diagnosis, that you go and do your own research, to be diligent to learn what is this about, how can this affect my body, how this affect my daily living, okay? What is the actual protocol and things that they do in order to correct this particular condition? If this condition can be improved with my diet and nutrition and lifestyle, or will I have to take this medication forever? Okay, you need to get informed. The same way when they give you a medication, you need to get informed. What is the medication for? What type of medication is this medication? What are the side effects of this medication? Will this medication interact with anything else that I'm doing at home? Any supplements, any herbs, anything that I'm doing? All this kind of information is important for you to have it ready and to be sure that you know all this information. Now, the key is that we're supposed to give our medical records. The medical records, you know that when you go to the doctor's office, your medical records are yours. You can ask copy of anything at any time, and they're supposed to deny it. The only time that they deny to give you some records or results is when the doctor haven't yet explained the results. Once the doctor have explained the results to you, then they're supposed to be able to give you anything that you want. So what is that you need at home to have at home to so you can have your own records? You're supposed to have the last doctor's notes, your last lab work, your last imaging. At least you want to have that for the last, at least the last 3 years records at home for the last 3 years at least. You want to have the doctor's notes. You want to have any labs that they have done to you. You want to have any procedures that have done to you. Okay, and any imaging, X-rays, MRIs, CT scan, things like that. Because when you keep records of that, especially if you go to multiple doctors, that's going to help you not to get things twice and don't have to pay for it twice when you already did it with another doctor. Okay, and also that's going to help you not to get medication twice and things like that. Make sure, like I said, you're going to have the doctor's notes, you're going to have your last labs, you're going to have your whatever imaging and procedure you have done. You're going to have a list of all your medication with the name of the medication, the dosage of how you're taking the medication, and how many milligrams it is, how many times a day, and the name and phone number of your pharmacy. You're also going to list there any supplement that you're taking. You're taking any supplement, you're also going to list it in that list. Okay, and then you're going to have, let's say you suffer high blood pressure or you suffer of diabetes, you're going to have a log of your high blood pressure because you're supposed to be checking your blood pressure at home, and you're going to have a log of your sugars if you are diabetic because you're supposed to be checking it at home. Okay, so you will bring all this, and every single time that you come to the doctor's visit, you want to bring everything with it. And then the list of the medications, you want to update it. Let's say your appointment for the doctor is tomorrow. You want to make sure that in your booklet is updated. Or you can either bring the bottles to the doctor, they're updated in the computer. When they print you a copy of the last notes, you will have the current list. Why do you want to make sure that the list of medications is current? Because especially if you go to multiple doctors or you have an emergency and they have to take you to the hospital, okay? If they don't know the medications that you're taking, they can double the medications. I remember when I was working in a primary care physician office, I had a patient, okay, that she was having issues with diabetes, and then she was having kidney issues, okay, as well as congestive heart failure, okay. So the primary doctor had gave her a water pill already, a diuretic, okay. So she went to her cardiologist to treat, her congestive heart failure, but she didn't bring her medications. So she was getting swelling and stuff like that. So they gave her another water pill medication. But lucky her, they give it a different one that the primary care was giving her. Then she went to her endocrinologist, and they gave her another water pill, different different than the other two. So this lady was taking 3 different water pills. So what happened? One day she fainted in the middle of the road while she was crossing the road, almost got hit by a car. Why? Because she was super dehydrated, because she was taking, because she don't know anything about the medication and what kind of medication, and she was taking all 3 medications at the same time. All 3 medications. What that happened? It was not really the fault of the doctor. It's the fault of the fact that you didn't bring your medication list, so the doctor knows. And imagine if that. Thank God that wasn't a medication that react with all the medications that she was taking, because then the consequences could have been worse. So that's why it's so important for us to bring our medication. So the doctor already knows if she would have gone to the cardiologist with the water pill that the doctor in the primary care gave her, the primary care doctor could have said, okay, you can continue to take this one. Maybe we're going to raise your milligrams, raise the dosage. Or this one is not so good. Let's get another one that will help you with whatever the primary doctor give it for, and also mine, and just remove this one. But she didn't bring the list. She didn't bring the pills. So the doctor gave her another one, and the other doctor gave her another one, and that's why this patient have to go through that. So that's why it's so important for you to bring your list of medication, to have all this information. I remember a patient that came to the primary care She came and did her physical, and the primary care also requested an echo because she had high blood pressure. An echo is an ultrasound of the heart to check, how the heart is working and everything like that. The doctor referred her to a cardiologist because she saw something that was not good. Okay, so instead of her taking the copy of the echo with her to take it to the cardiologist, she didn't do that. So the cardiologist did another echo. When the cardiologist submitted it to the insurance didn't want to pay for the second echo. She had to come up with $600 and something out of her pocket to pay for that echo. Why? Because she didn't bring. Now, it's supposed to be that doctors are communicating with each other and that they sending, via fax all records and results and things like that. But sometimes that can take a while. Remember, it's not the doctor that's doing that. It's her employees, the staff, the medical assistants and the nurses are the one that transferring all these papers, and they have more than one patient. Okay, more than one test that they have to do that. Sometimes it doesn't go in timely fashion to the other doctor. So that's why it's very important for us to keep copy. That's why when you go to the doctor and you get your results in checkout, you tell the worker, the staff there in the checkout, I want a copy of the doctor's notes of today, and I want the copy of my results, whether the result was an MRI, an ultrasound, lab work, a procedure, anything that they did, you want to keep that. So when you have to go to another doctor or you got to go to emergency for a situation, you have all the records right there for them to see, and then they have to do only what they need and don't have to do more. Or maybe you need something, let's say, for example, that happened also. This person really need an MRI, okay? But the insurance is saying unless you get an X-ray first and an ultrasound second and a CT scan next, then you won't be able to get your MRI. So maybe you can have records that you have done all those things if you have it with you, and then they will be able to approve the MRI that you really need. So that's again exactly why it's so important for us to have copy of our records. Another thing is, for example, let's say you suffer a high blood pressure and you're taking medication. You go to your follow-up office, and remember, if you already have a diagnosis like hypertension, like diabetes, like an autoimmune disease, you're supposed to see your doctors at least every 3 months. Okay, and they're supposed to be checking you at least every 3 months. So let's say you suffer high blood pressure, and this happened in a daily basis in a doctor's office. You suffer high blood pressure. The doctor give you medication for you to control your blood pressure. Now you come into your follow-up. The follow-up is to check how your blood pressure is doing and to check that the medication and the dosage that the medication that the doctor gave you is working. Okay, but you go to the office, didn't do a blood pressure log, you didn't check your blood pressure at home and didn't log it and didn't bring a log for the doctor to see. Okay, so now you come into the office and your blood pressure is skyrocket high, but you have checked it at home but didn't bring the log, and you know that at home is always fine, it's always on the normal limits, but you didn't bring that to the doctor to prove it. And now in the office your blood pressure is high because some people, they get nervous, even though they don't know it, they get nervous at the doctor's office, and they get what is called white coat syndrome. That means that their blood pressure is elevated. It gets elevated because of nervousness when they go to the doctor. But then as soon as they get out of the doctor's office, you can check their blood pressure in the parking lot, and it's already coming down. Why? Because they have white coat syndrome. But the reason why, since you didn't bring a log of your blood pressure to the doctor, what's going to happen? That the doctor is gonna be forced to give you. First of all, he or she is not gonna let you get out of the office until your blood pressure comes down. So he might have to give you. You probably already took your medication at home, and he need to give you something at the office for you to take to lower your blood pressure at that moment. Meaning more medications in your body, more side effects. Okay. Then, because your blood pressure was high, the insurance says that you have to keep your patient with the blood pressure under control, and he doesn't have a log to document in the computer for you. So he's gonna have to prescribe you something else for add up, either increase what you're taking, the milligrams of what you're taking, or add up another medication for your blood pressure. So now you are in another medication or higher doses that you really didn't need, that have more side effects, that you might need some medications to combat the side effects, that you really didn't need because you didn't bring your log. If you would have bring your log and the doctor can see, okay, your blood pressure every single day is within normal limits, then he will say, okay, that patient have white coat syndrome. They're probably still going to give you something right there at the office because they cannot let you out of the building, without your blood pressure being normal. But that will be it. But now you're going to have a new medication or a higher dosage just because you didn't bring your log. The same thing happens if you don't bring your sugar log. Now, with the sugar log, there's no such thing that is going to come high because you get nervous in the office. But the sugar log, if you don't bring the sugar log, how the doctor's going to adjust your medication to make sure that your sugar stay at normal? How they're going to adjust your insulin? Okay, what they do is they're going to check your sugar there at the moment at the office, and depending on the number that it came into the office, is how they might adjust your medication or not if you don't bring a log. Or sometimes the glucometer can keep history of how your sugar has been, and you can bring that to the doctor as well, and the doctor can check how your sugar has been. But it's very important. And let me tell you something, people, like, people don't want to pinch their fingers, okay? But you have to do it. You have to check your sugar. How are you going to know what you're supposed to eat or not if you don't check your sugar? Okay, so for diabetics, it's essential for you to check your sugar. And if you decided that you're going to change your diet in order to lower your sugar, that you're really going to transform your lifestyle and nutrition, then you need to check your sugar even more because you don't want to bottom down and get a hypoglycemic episode. So it's very important for you to make sure that you check your sugar. And you came with that log. Now, another log that you're supposed to have in your book when in your folder with your records is new symptoms. If you are coming to the doctor, let's say you make an appointment, it's not a follow-up. You came to the doctor because you're having sciatic pain. Let's say, for example, I'm having some pain, in my buttocks, in my left buttocks, by the sciatic nerve. I think I'm having sciatic. Okay. So in order to help the doctor make a right diagnosis, you need to have a log of how the pain started, what type of pain. For example, the pain started 2 days ago, and you're gonna have it in your log. I just started a pain today. It was sharp from 1 to 10. How was the pain? Was the pain sharp? Was the pain numbing, or with the pain have like a pulse, or it was radiating, or it was burning? Whatever the type of pain was, you need to write that down and write every single day that you have the pain, how it was, okay, until the day that you go and see the doctor. Because let's say if it's that intermittent pain that you had the pain today, but tomorrow I didn't have the pain, then I got it again, okay? All these things can differentiate what is the diagnosis. And in order to help the doctor to make the best right diagnosis for you, you need to inform him correctly because he doesn't live with you. Not only that he doesn't have even time to get the conversation out of you. Remember, the doctor have maybe 15 to 20 minutes with you, and in that 15 and 20 minutes, he need to figure out what's wrong with you, get a diagnosis, give you the prescription, write everything and document it and codify it in the computer, and be ready for the next patient. So that's why we need to do our part. We need to be an active participant of our healthcare. We need to be an active participant of our healthcare. I say it again. We need to be an active participant of our healthcare. And like I told you plenty of times, that I don't call it even healthcare. I call it sick care, because what do the doctors do? They just see you, they come with a diagnosis, and they give you a pill. They're not really taking care of your spirit. They're not really taking care of your lifestyle. They're not really taking care of your nutrition. All the things that are exacerbating and causing all the chronic diseases that we're suffering from nowadays. So that's why it's important for us to come prepared and informed with everything that we need in order for us to know exactly, to give the doctor all the information that they need in order for them to make the best diagnosis and get to the best treatment that we need. And the most specific you can be, the best. So any question, another thing that you want to come ready with is that any question that you have from the doctor, you want to write it down there in your folder so that you can ask them while you're there in the doctor's office. Because if you don't have the questions there right there in the moment, you might forget, and that question might make the difference on the diagnosis. That question might make the difference whether you need a new pill or not. That patient might make the difference whether you need to go to a specialist or not, or you need a procedure or not. And because you didn't ask the question, because you didn't come prepared, you're going to miss out. So that's another thing that you need to make sure that you come prepared to the doctor. Okay, very, very important that you come prepared to the doctor. Another thing is that, for example, when it comes to medication that have to do with your diabetes, medication that have to do with the thyroid, medication that have to do with your high blood pressure, all these medications, you got to take it as directed. Unless you start doing changes with your lifestyle and nutrition that is going to reverse your condition and then you're not going to need them anymore, you have to take them as directed, because these are medications that when you stop taking it, they cause more harm than good. So you need to take it as directed, and as things are changing, because let's say you change your way of eating and you're exercising more and you're controlling stress, and now your blood pressure is coming lower and lower. As you bring that log to the doctor and the blood pressure is getting lower and lower, then the doctor can remove and lower the dosage and lower the dosage. Because a lot of these medications, they need to be titrated to take it out. You cannot just take it out suddenly, because it's going to cause more harm than good to your body. Especially heart medications, high blood pressure medications, sugar medications, all those need to be lowered slowly. Okay? So it's very important that if you decide, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to work with a coach. Me, for example, all my clients that I work with, I make sure that they have logs and all the information so they can take to the doctor. I, as a coach, do not remove any medication from my clients, but a lot of my clients stop taking medications. Why? Because they're doing better when they go to the doctor. The doctor can see that they're doing better because they bring the right information to the doctor. Okay, and then the doctor is able to reduce or remove any of the medication. But you don't do that on your own, okay? Because that's going to cause more harm than good if you do that on your own. So that's one thing that you need to know. So another thing, let's say you don't suffer anything. What are the things? What are the things that you need to know to make sure that you get a physical every year? Okay, so when you go to the doctor every year, you need to get a physical, and the first thing that you want to check is your blood, because with the lab work, they know a lot of things. So what are the main things that you need in order to go to the? And let me tell you something again. Remember, you are the patient. You have rights. If there's anything that you want to get tests, you can require the doctor tell you, well, I cannot test that because it's not going to be covered by your insurance, or I don't have a diagnosis to follow up. They make sure that you understand that, because that means that if they don't have a diagnosis to support it, that you're going to be charged for that particular test. But sometimes, you really need to know those things in order to know, how you're going to direct your lifestyle, how you're going to design your lifestyle, how you're going to eat better and things like that. You need all this information. So the things that you need a CMP. What is a CMP? A CMP is a complete metabolic panel. In a complete metabolic panel, that tests your liver enzymes, your kidney function, okay? They check your sugar levels. They check your sugar levels, your fasting sugar levels. They check your electrolytes. So all these things get checked in your complete metabolic panel. So that's an essential test that you need to get done, making sure your liver is good, that your kidneys are functioning good, that you have enough electrolytes, okay, that your fasting blood sugar is doing good, okay, that your calcium is doing good. All these things are going to be calcium, potassium, sodium, all those is going to be in your complete metabolic panel. Then the second test that you really need is the CBC, which is a complete blood count. That means that it's going to check your blood to see you have enough red blood cells, enough white blood cells. The red blood cell is the one that carry the oxygen to the organs. Okay, then the white blood cells is part of your immune system. Sorry that my husband is coughing. The carry the white blood cells are the one that clean up the blood and stuff like that. So you have your blood cells. Your platelets have to do with your coagulation factors. Okay, and then your hemoglobin. So those are things, and then it comes with a differential that tell you all the different types of white blood cells and all that good stuff. You need to have that test done to make sure that you have enough blood and the blood have all that it needs in order for you to work properly. The next test that you want to make sure that you ask the doctor for is a lipid profile. Okay, and you want the profile. You don't want them just to check your cholesterol and your triglycerides. You want the profile. What do the profile do? A lipid profile will give you your total cholesterol, okay, your good cholesterol, which is the HDL, your bad cholesterol, which is the LDL, okay, and then you give you the triglycerides, okay. give you your triglycerides. And then it will also separate, it will take the bad cholesterol, the LDL, and then will give you the size particles, meaning whether the size of the particles of the bad cholesterol are big or small, because that make a difference, okay? When they're small, the small particles of bad cholesterol are the one that adhere to the walls of the arteries and clog the arteries. But the big particles of the LDL, they bounce out. Okay, so it's very important for you to know that, because that, knowing that, it will give you the decision whether you need to take cholesterol medication or not. You might have a total cholesterol that is high, you might have a little bit more bad cholesterol than good cholesterol, but then your bad cholesterol, all the particles are big. That means that they're bounced, they're not going to stick into the walls. You might not need the cholesterol medication. Okay, so that's very important for you to know that. Another thing that you want them to test you every year is for your vitamin D levels. And let me tell you, vitamin D is essential for your bones. It's essential to lower sugar, for blood pressure, for your skin. It's essential for so many things. It's almost like a hormone. So you want to make sure that you check your vitamin D levels. You know that our body make vitamin D by exposing to the sun. But nowadays, first of all, especially if you live in state of Florida, okay, you are inside in the air conditioner 24/7. Okay, and if you're working inside all day, you're not getting that. And if you have dark skin, it's even worse. In order for us to make enough vitamin D, we need to stand in the sun in the morning, within 8:30 in the morning to 11:30 in the morning. And let's say if you have fair skin, you, without any sunblock or anything, you might be able to stand there maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and you will make enough vitamin D. If you are as darker as you are, the longer you have to be there, an hour, 2 hours, in order for you to make enough vitamin D. But many people are not getting the vitamin D properly. So that's important that you get your vitamin D levels. And when the doctor give you the prescription for your vitamin D, you wanted to, let's say that you are deficient and the doctor's telling you that you need to take a supplement for vitamin D, and he's going to prescribe you, vitamin D2, 50,000 international unit to take once a week. You want to tell the doctor, doctor, I want the vitamin D3. Okay, I want the vitamin D3. Why? Because the vitamin D is a synthetic. And why they prescribe you that? Because that's the one that they can make, the mullah. And so you want the good one, the vitamin D3 instead, okay? That's very important. Another test that you want to get checked is your thyroid. Why you want to get your thyroid checked? Because you know the thyroid is like it's the control of all your cells. They tell the cells what to do and everything. So you need to make sure that you check your thyroid. But not only your TSH. Usually they do check your thyroid, but they only check the TSH. The TSH is the thyroid stimulating hormone that comes from the pituitary and stimulate your thyroid to make the T3 and T4, which are the hormones that they make. But you don't want only that, because you can be having good sign to the thyroid, and the thyroid might not be spelling enough of the T3 and T4. And T3 is the active hormones of the thyroid. T4 is not, is the inactive that is get converted. So what about if you have a problem converting the T4 into T3, or the T3 is not getting into the cell? There's many issues that can be happening. So that's why it's very important for you to get the thyroid profile, not just the TSH. Okay. Now, if you're a man, I know that most of the people, 99% of the people that are listening are women, but you all have husbands, probably boyfriends or sons. For a man, to make sure that they get a PSA, especially if they're over 40 years old, you want them to get a PSA every year. The PSA is a prostatic specific agent, and when what that do is that they let him know if the prostate is inflamed or if there's cancer. If it's elevated, that means that it's more than 4. Then he will have to go to an urologist and get the actual exam to make sure if it's inflamed and things like that, and might need to get a biopsy to see if they're having any cancer or anything like that. So it's very present. Also, if you're a man, you want to check your testosterone levels. Make sure that you're making enough male hormones, because that is going to give, especially if you having lack of energy, lack of libido, the man is having any erectile dysfunction, things like that. You want to make sure that you check their testosterone level to make sure that everything is going good. Another thing that you want to check is your vitamin B12 levels. Vitamin B12 is essential for a lot of things, but also helping with your memory and with energy. So you want to make sure that your vitamin B12 levels are okay. And if they are okay, then you can just take a supplement from the supermarket. If not, you want to make sure that they give you the injection that they give you to put it up. If you're a woman, you want to check your hormone levels, especially if you're over 40, to make sure that that's when they start declining a little bit when you come into perimenopause and menopause, and that will let you know if you are in those levels already. And what they check is the LDH, FSH, and prolactin, which are the hormones for the female. Another two things that you wanted to check that is very important is levels of inflammation. Do you know that the number one reason of or root cause of chronic diseases is inflammation? If you can control your inflammation, you can control your risk of getting a chronic disease. Okay, so it's very important for us to know, especially if you already been diagnosed with arthritis, with an autoimmune disease like lupus or fibromyalgia, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. You want to make sure you check your C-reactive protein and your set rate, which are the levels that check the amount of inflammation in your body, so that way you can keep it under control. Because if you keep it under control, especially in those diseases like autoimmune disease, lowering the inflammation is going to lower your flare-ups and it's going to lower the pain. If you're having chronic pain, lowering your inflammation is also going to lower the pain. If you lower the inflammation, you're going to help lower your cholesterol too, because the reason why the cholesterol gets stuck into the walls of your arteries is because of inflammation. Okay, because the cell walls of the arteries are inflamed. Okay, so what the cholesterol do, the job of the cholesterol is to patch it. Is to patch. It's like when you have a dry wall that is broken, and you put the patch to cover the little hole. That's what the cholesterol does. But what happens, because you have chronic inflammation, you keep packing and packing and packing and packing and packing cholesterol in that wall until you clog the artery. So that's why it's important for us to know that. Another thing that you want to check is your hemoglobin A1C. Okay? Hemoglobin A1C. This is a test that checks how your sugar has been in the last 3 months. So what they do is that they take the hemoglobin A1C results together with the fasting blood sugar in your CMP, in the complete metabolic panel, and if both are high, then you are diabetic. Or depending on how high they are, you might be pre-diabetic or diabetic. That means that you're suffering insulin resistance. Okay? So it's very important for you to do both tests. Now, you are a diabetic if you have more than 6.5 percentage of the hemoglobin A1C, and you have a sugar higher than 100 on your fasting blood sugar. Okay? If you have anywhere from 5.9 to 6.4, and you have anywhere in your fasting blood sugar from 110 to 120, that means that you are pre-diabetic. Okay? So those are the things that we need to know in order for you to know how you're going to design your lifestyle so that you don't get any of the diseases. That's for the people that are healthy. Now, if you already suffer of these diseases, then this test that I mentioned to you, especially the CMP, the CBC, the lipid, the thyroid, and the inflammation markers, need to be done every 3 months, just to make sure that your body is working correctly and the treatments that they're giving you are working. So that is very, very, very important. Okay? Another test that you also need is your urinalysis, to make sure that your urine is doing good, that no sugar is being expelled through the urine, that no blood is being expelled through the urine, and that you don't have any urinary infection, because that also have to do with the care of your kidneys. So it's very important to do that, and also for the bladder. Usually, if you have blood in the urine, it can mean several things. It can mean that you have a kidney stones. It can mean that you have bladder cancer. It can be that if you're close to your period, if you're a lady. So those why it's important for us to check those. Okay, and then when you check all those labs and the doctor do the labs and give you the results, make sure that you take a copy to put it in your folder. Okay, because that's going to save you. If you already did a test, for example, if you already did a test and you take it to let's say you have another doctor, you have to go to the cardiologist can see those, and then you might not have to repeat it, because every single time that you have to repeat it, you might have to get something else. So, or you are going to have to pay, or the insurance might not cover. So it's very important for you to keep records. So to, like I said, let me summarize. In order for you to prep for a doctor's visit, make sure that you have your folder with the last doctor notes, the lab work, okay, the last imagings and procedures and x-rays that they have done to you, okay, the current list of your medication, that have the dosages, the milligrams, how you taking it, when you started it, and what they are for, what you're taking it for. Some people is taking medication and they don't even know what they're for. You know, like right now, I decided to do this for you guys because I've been taking my mom, you know, that she had an accident. I'm taking her to the doctor. I took her to the doctor the other day, and the primary care already gave her something for the pain that she was having, and she goes to the orthopedic, and now the orthopedic want to give him another medication for pain. She don't need another medication for pain because she already taking a medication for pain that is similar, uh, the same type, different medication, but the same type of medication. That why she need to take two of them to cause more side effects and more problems with her body when she never took medication, ever before. So because I know what the medication is for, then I know that she don't need the other one, and I was able to discuss that with the doctor. But when you don't even know what you're taking the medication for, that's when they give you other medication because you have no idea what you're taking the medication for. So it's very, 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 very important for you to know that you have that list, including your supplements that you're taking. You take that, and then you need to have in that folder your logs. If you are suffering of blood sugar, then your sugar logs. If you're suffering of high blood pressure, then your high blood pressure log. If you're suffering of any pain, then the pain log. If you have any new symptoms, new symptoms log. From the new symptom logs is going to log the symptoms and any new symptoms that you have suffered since the last visit with the doctor. So that way you can see, the doctor can see what's going on with you. I know this seems like a lot of work, but it's not a lot of work. You can have those logs, in the bathroom or somewhere in your house where you just check. And when it comes to the sugar and stuff like that, you should. And now, for example, if you are pre-diabetic, and you want to make sure that you go down to pre-diabetic, you at least need to check your sugar once. The insurance is not going to pay for the strips, but you can go to Walmart. You can get the Walmart brand glucometer with the strips in a pretty good price. And some insurance and even give you money to buy over the counter things, so that way you can monitor your sugar. But if you're already diabetic, then you want to make sure that you monitor your sugar the way that the doctor tell you to. Another thing, if you're a diabetic, if you monitor your sugar, depending on your sugar results, is gonna depend what you're gonna eat that day. Because if you wake up in the morning and you do your fasting blood sugar, and your fasting blood sugar is over 100, you have 130, 140, then you know that for breakfast you're not gonna have no pancakes, or you're not gonna have a brownie for breakfast, or a cookie for breakfast, anything like that. You might have some eggs, maybe bacon, things like that, the protein, because you know that your sugar is already up. And then if you follow your sugar right there, and then you see that by lunchtime your sugar is kind of normal, then maybe you can say, okay, I'm going to add a little bit of pasta for my lunch, a little bit of rice, because my sugar is doing good. But otherwise you're not going to do that. Okay. And make sure that when you're diabetic, the rules of eating is to have protein in the morning. Okay. And then if your sugar is good, you can add a little bit of carb in the at lunchtime. You always want to have a salad, okay, and with some protein, and then you can add a little bit of like a quarter of your plate of a carb if your sugar was okay. But if it's not, no. But always for dinner, always you want to have vegetables and a protein for dinner. Vegetables and a protein, whether the vegetables are steamed, whether they're in a salad, whether they are baked, but vegetables, non-starch vegetables and protein for your dinner. And that's like a normal kind of eating for a diabetic patient. Okay. So make sure that you have all this information that I tell you. Make sure that you have that information at home, because that's going to save your life. That's going to help the doctor to give you the best diagnosis that they ever can. Listen to me. Doctors are doing the best they can. It's not that I want to be in their side, but I work with them for years and years and years, and I can tell you they're doing the best they can. They are what they call it. They are in bondage, kind of like they have to do whatever the insurance says for them to do. They have to follow the protocol for the insurance. Okay, they have to follow big pharma. Okay, they had to document all this in order to get paid. They had to codify everything in the computer. So that's the reason why it is so important for you to know. Another thing is that let's say your liver enzymes are just a little bit elevated, not enough to say that you have liver disease. In order to cover more tests and give you medication, they might have to codify and put another code. And then when you get that your notes at the end of the day, if they didn't explain you, you're gonna have a something that says you have liver disease, and nobody told me I have liver disease. That's the reason why you get this information, so you can ask the doctor and they can explain you even more, because they explain the minimum, not because they want to explain the minimum, it's because they don't have the time. In order for them to make the money and stuff like that, they have to go. I've seen doctors fighting with insurance companies to get approved things, medication and things like that for the patient that the insurance don't want to pay. Sometimes they're doing their best, and they still, because like I said, they're in control, and plus they're not taught about nutrition, they're not taught about lifestyle, they are treating the disease. Okay, they're not treating you 99% of the time, they're treating the disease. You have diabetes, you're going to have this, so on and so forth. You have this, you're going to have this, and so forth. They're not treating you. They're not treating you. They're not treating your mind, your spirit, your body, your lifestyle, your consequences, the things that are going to your life that took you to the moment. You can have a person that is diabetic, and we know that everybody that if you have diabetes type 2, you have insulin resistance. But why you became insulin resistant? That's the root cause. If you can deal and address that root cause, then you're going to be able to give the right treatment for that patient. But they don't do that. What the protocol of the insurance said, no, you have to start them with metformin, and then if the metformin don't working, out of the glipizide don't working, the Januvia that doesn't working, then they start to taking long-term insulin, and then out of short-term insulin. I mean, that's the way it goes, because that's the protocol that they have. Okay, that's the protocol that they have. But if you come informed and you know exactly what you need, and you can talk to them a little bit about what's going on in your life, then because you bring all the information, then that give you more time to talk to the doctor and give you a little bit more of your story. Okay, and that way the doctor can really do. So for example, I was telling you before, you can have a person that is diabetic because they are in so much stress, okay, that they are in chronic inflammation 24/7. Chronic inflammation is causing the fluid all around the cells that are blocking the pathways where the insulin will sit and dump the sugar. So now you have insulin resistant. Why? Because you always inflame. So if the doctor knew that, then you know how to tell you how to control your stress, and you might lower that. Maybe some other person, this person might not be so stressed, but this person use a lot of makeup, and she's working housekeeping, for example, with a lot of chemicals in there. So what happened? That her oxidative stress is high, meaning that because she's exposed to so many chemicals, okay, at all day, that means that it's causing damage into the cell. They're getting a lot of free radicals. Free radicals are negative ions that will damage the cell, causing damage to the cells. Now the cells are like this, but now the integrity of the cell is broken. Okay, because it's broken, it's jamming the doors, the garages where the insulin have to go and park and dump the sugar, and now that's why they become insulin resistant. So now the doctor will know that you need to detox all this garbage that you putting on. Maybe you have to find a different job where you don't work with all those chemicals, or change the chemicals at home for things that are more organic and natural, to lower your insulin resistance, then to lower your sugar. You see that there's many reasons why a diagnosis is coming, but they don't look at the root cause of disease. Okay, they're not looking at that. They're just looking at the disease. They're treating a diagnosis. And in order for us to help that doctor make the best decision, the best diagnosis, we need to come prepared to the doctor's office. Okay? Remember what I always tell you, that the doctor is responsible for your sick care, but you are responsible of your health care. Again, the doctor is responsible for your sick care, but you, yes, you are responsible of your health care. I hope this information help you. And if you need anything and you have any question, you need help in preparing your packet or anything like that, you can contact me. And remember also that if you want more information of all the tests that you can request and anything that you need, you can just get my book. You can go here in this corner right here. You can go to Amazon and you can get my book and workbook, and you'll be able to transform your health and life and be prepared for your doctor's visit. Okay, so take care. See you next week.